Hello ladies and mostly gentlemen, I'm Vinny B and this is part 2 of the flying machine. Today the plan was to complete the fab work, but unfortunately it seems that my original design has some safety flaws. First thing to do? Well, just like any other professional projects. You dig out the steel for the build.
2 hours later.
Oh! Ah! Woo! Ah! Where? So here I'm making the links between the main arm and the secondary arm. The machine is made just like a double wishbone suspension. The combination of the two arms will keep me level during the up-down movement. The goal here is to make all the links the same, so that's why I made myself a jig. Now for the fab of the second section of the main arm. And yes, I know, I'm still using some old steel from an old house deck. Still have to cut it in pieces. And some sections are really bent. Maybe I can do something about it. Oh, and I made it worse. Yeah, good job, Vinny. Yay, the joy of working with used steel. It's quite dusty. Ah, better. Making a 24-foot long straight thing with all steel, it's quite a challenge. Oh, do you remember in part 1 when it was minus 45 Canadian degrees? I mean Celsius? Well, just a week after, the weather was still cold, but warm enough for any Canadian to work outside in a long sleeve sweater. Since that long piece was made out of smaller sections, I decided to reinforce all the joints. Sometimes planning ahead pays off. As you know, I put a huge hinge in the middle of the machine, and to make sure that both sections will join easily, I fabricate both sides during part 1. I know, it's big brain stuff right there. Oh great, we're back with the strings trick that I explained, I don't know, thousands of times in previous videos, so I won't repeat myself, but did you know that there's another secret way to fine-tune the alignment using the strings? I know, I'm clever. You can't say you never picked up a tip or two on my channel.
Warning, in the next segment, it would be very inviting to make "that's what she said" jokes. Due to my professionalism, I will hold back. But you don't have to.
It's huge. It's really long. Also this one, just like the main frame, doesn't fit entirely in my shop, so I will have to find a way to tuck that end in close to my milling, so at least I can paint the damn thing and close the door. Yeah, I just wanted to give you a close look of that art piece that is becoming that project, well, at least this end of the secondary arm.
So here I've got a bunch of plates with holes. The top one will be for the main cable that will run the entire length and be attached at the bottom to the counterweight. So if something goes wrong with the hinge, well, at least this cable will be my safety redundancy. Side plates, these ones gonna be for the I'm gonna have side cables also, because this thing sideways is very wobbly. So just like a boat, the main mast has side cables to keep it straight. So the bottom plates you're gonna see, but this thing's gonna be the pivot point for the spindle where I'm gonna attach the human basket. So at this end, on one side it's gonna be the hinge, as I showed you on part 1, and on the other side I had a plate which will be to fix 6 half-inch bolts. Pretty sure you can see the wave that goes up and then down. That thing is far from straight, so that's what you get when you use old steel, which I will never do again. Alright, let's slap some paint on that long thing. Okay, before installing the second half of the main arm, I need to level the trailer. To do so, I'm building wooden stands. Did you know that Canadian spruce has the amazing property of being electrically conductive? Meaning it's weldable? Well, I was running out of welding gas, so I finished the job using regular screws. Right, the anchoring. In part 1, because of the cold, all my batteries kept dying on me, and unfortunately, I was not able to film how I anchored down the base to the trailer. So I received comments because some of you were concerned about my safety, since it seems that I was only screwing the base to the plywood of the trailer. Well, first, this is not a plywood. These are 2x6s, and I'm using all threads to clamp the base to the trailer frame. Yeah, so don't worry guys, I'm crazy but not stupid. Okay, maybe a little bit, but anyway. And this is where the shit really hit the fan. I knew the pivot axles was a weak point, and I did run a bunch of simulations to try to convince myself that it was safe. Well, safe enough, but that shakiness, yeah, it won't cut it. I don't want to take any unnecessary risks, because it's my life that will be balancing at 25 feet. And more importantly, maybe people I love, and also my mother-in-law, will eventually try it. So for my loved ones, it needs to be super safe, and this design is shit. So after I stopped crying myself a river, I redesigned the main base and the pivot axle. And because I hated so much installing the main arm on its base the first time, I decided to support it in place while I was modifying the parts to be reinstalled. Yeah, I need to be honest here, because I spent so much time and effort putting those parts together that I couldn't watch myself cutting them in pieces. I don't want to see this. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! Oh, please God, no. It's just a dream, it's just a dream, it's just a dream. So after a bit of cleaning and some more fab, I was done with the base 2.0. And with the new pivot axle. Oh, it seems not totally engaged. Maybe you should... Oh, that's awkward. And this is worse. Hey! You see, what I did is reuse the top part of the old base and relocate it at the bottom, because inside this metal box lives the taper roller bearing, which supports all the weight of the machine. So instead of having it on top like the previous version, now the weight is transferred directly at the bottom and not through some shaky legs. I also added another bearing at the top, increasing the leverage to withstand any lateral forces, and that should reduce, if not completely eliminate, the previous shakiness of the whole thing. But there's a trade-off. Instead of doing a full 360 like before, well, I was now limited to 180. In reality, this thing is way bigger than I thought, and in fact, I only have the space to rotate at the most to 70 degrees. So now, to only be able to rotate 180 is not such a bad trade-off after all. Alright, let's try it out. So I teamed up with my daughter to align the new base with the partially floating arm.
Encore. Ok, attends une minute.
Then I made some beastie noises.
À peu près comme ça. Je peux l'enlever de là, partir avec. Merci, Pinat.
While re-anchoring the base, I knocked my head off real hard on that metal pole. And of course, my camera was off. Oh, wait, that's right, I do have my home security camera. Ouch. Yeah, it hurt. So yeah, I installed some yellow strings as a reminder that I do have a hard head, but just not metal hard. And now to see if all that base and pivot axle rework was worth it.
Nope, it won't move. Nice.
Great, it was finally time to couple the second half of the main arm. Although this thing is close to 200 pounds, I'll try to not drop it like I did with the first half. But no false promises. If only someone could bring me a clamp to close the gap between these two halves. But today I'm home alone, and frankly at this point I don't want to see any of my kids around this thing. Told you, no promises.
Ta-da! Oopsie.
Alright, take two, but this time with a clamp at arm's reach. Oh, look Ma, one end! Did I mention I love redundancy? Now I just need to drill and tab these 6 half-inch bolts. At this stage you can see how flexible the main arm is. Let's add the side cables. Now we can see the stiffness that had at the side cables. Next, what I want to do is to put some weight in the barrels to try to balance the thing and see how it behaves. And I'll bring the rear down using my trailer winch. I know, big brain in action again. Let's think safety and let's add some redundancy. Ooh, double the redundancy. I like it. It's funny to think how small and armless something can look on a sketch or a 3D CAD, but this thing is getting bigger and bigger. But why the vast majority of my projects are so dumb and dangerous?
Warning. To extend his life by safely handling heavy loads, Vinny B has found his next YouTube project.
Oh, and I just bought this. Oh, not this, but this. Yay!
But that's for another video.
All right, let's have the crushed stones in the barrels.
Much later.
There's too many bags. Shit.
Yep, I did put too many bags, and now the rear was too heavy.
Really don't want to step on this first barrel because if everything goes, this thing's gonna become a catapult.
One good side of using crushed stones, it's really easy to get rid of.
Oh!
Oh, buttery smooth.
Oh! Fucking works! Damn, I'm stupid.
Alright, I'm gonna finish part 2 on these images, cause frankly the redesign of the base and pivot axle took a lot of work and time, and now the video is getting a bit long. If you want to see the rest of this build, please consider subscribing and leave a comment. So on the next episode, I'll finish the fab work, and using a dummy, which will be about the same weight as me, I'll try to break the flying machine so I can find and fix any weak points. And if the thing survives the testing phase, I'll ride it myself. Woohoo! But till then, go do something with your head, your hands, or both. Thanks for watching, guys.